Guys, I can't believe it. I don't think this has ever happened before. I'm like in total shock, okay? This is how bad it is. If we had a real media in America, they'd actually tell you this, but since we don't, they're just left-wing activists. I'm going to do it for you, and I hope that you'll share it with your friends, but I'm not sure this has ever happened before. The UK Parliament, Great Britain, our greatest ally in the world, holds a US president in contempt. British Parliament holds Joe Biden in contempt, okay? Delivering an unprecedented rebuke to a US president from our greatest ally, okay? That's how bad it is in Afghanistan. That's how insane it is. Joe Biden wasn't able to speak to Boris Johnson or other world leaders for like over a day. I'm not even sure if he still has spoken to most of them. He didn't bother to give them the heads up. He didn't bother to call after the fact. He was on vacation and couldn't be bothered. Just like he couldn't be bothered to maybe set up a plan to get American civilians out of Afghanistan before the freaking Taliban took over. I mean, think about where we are. Think about how insane this is, right? This is the same President Joe Biden that the other day said, I've seen no questioning of our credibility from our allies around the world. Joe Biden said that. Really, Joe? Really? You haven't seen any questioning when world leaders say we can't get a hold of him, he can't be reached? When the UK Parliament holds you in contempt in an unprecedented fashion. You've never seen it? Now, again, if we had a real media, you would think this would be a big deal. You would think they would go nuts, and they'd be right to go nuts, but they won't, okay? Because they're the marketing arm of the pathetic Democrats in America. You're seeing what that's getting you, okay? Joe Biden's handling of Afghanistan withdrawal was condemned as, quote, catastrophic and shameful by the UK Houses of Parliament. Okay, that's how bad it is. Okay, we won't hear that here. Even, he's losing CNN and MSDNC and these guys. He's even losing them a little bit because they understand how insane this all is, okay? But now he's lost the UK Parliament. And that's not exactly what we'd call a conservative place, folks, okay? Okay, far from it. But when they're saying it's catastrophic and shameful, when they feel they've been wronged and embarrassed on a world stage, that they're holding a U.S. president in contempt, that tells you everything you need to know. Again, you're not going to hear about this from our media because they're still running cover for the Democrats because they're worried what happens to other Democrats beyond Joe Biden in the midterms. They're worried about that, so they're going to cover for Joe Biden to protect the other Democrats so they can keep doing their things. But from the Telegraph, MPs and peers, that's like their congressmen and stuff, unite to condemn the, quote, dishonor of U.S. President's withdrawal and his criticism of Afghan troops left behind to face the Taliban. Yeah, how about a criticism from the Americans he left behind? How about criticisms for saying, like, for just leaving and leaving citizens? Whatever happened to, like, no man left behind? I mean, that was a pretty big saying in the military, and our woke generals just totally disregarded that. We'll just leave. No problem. This is what's going on. Our greatest ally in the world feels humiliation. Okay? That's what Joe Biden and his quote-unquote leadership has gotten us. Okay? They are disgusted. Parliament holding a U.S. president in contempt is a really big deal. More people should be talking about it, but I won't. Again, this is our closest ally in the world, and they're holding a U.S. president in contempt for his dishonorable management of the Afghan withdrawal. Okay, just remember that, folks. Remember it and vote accordingly, and make sure you're passing this stuff on because no one else is going to talk about it, unfortunately, because that is the world in which we live. So I need you guys out there passing this message and sharing it because this is some crazy stuff and it needs to be called out by someone. And since we won't have a media do it, I guess it's going to have to fall on guys like me. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.